What is a true fact so baffling, it should be false?
There is a 1 in roughly 5.2 to the 61st power chance that if you were to slap a table, all of the molecules in your hand and the table would miss each other and your hand would go through it. Story time. I learned this fact from a deep intellectual conversation with my engineering class 2 years ago, so there very well could be some kind of detail T missing here, but nonetheless, what I said is theoretically true.
There used to be a radioactive energy drink called Redditors that was in the US market for a decade from 1918–1928. Some of the more prominent users had to be buried in lead coffins.
Giant squids have a donut-shaped brain so their esophagus can run through the middle. If they try to swallow too large a bite of food they can get brain damage.
You could take away all of Wayne Gretzky's goals that he scored during his career and he would still be the all-time NHL points leader off his assists alone. Bonus Gretzky fact, he and his brother own the record for being the highest scoring pair of siblings. Brent had 4 points in his whole career. Every day that you go to work you pass more people than an average medieval person did in their entire life.
The youngest mother to give birth became pregnant at 4 years old. If a gorilla looks grumpy, it's because they are relaxed and at ease.
The USA is the third most populated nation on Earth. If you were able to add 1 billion people to the US population today, it would still be the third most populated nation on Earth.
The gravity of black holes is so great that it literally bends slide around the black hole, so that if you could somehow stand close enough to a black hole and look straight ahead, you would actually see the back of your own head.
Greenland extends east of, west of, south of and north of Iceland.
When the 22nd president of the U.S., Grover Cleveland, was 27 years old, he was friends with the married couple who had a baby girl named Frances. As a gift, he bought them a high-end baby stroller for little Frances. 21 years later, he married Frances and she became the youngest First Lady. Think about that.
A morbidly obese person can survive with absolute starvation without any sickness or feeling ill, under close control. There have been studies since 60s. There is a patient in 1973 who went under a 382-day starvation diet for therapeutic purposes under close control with only vitamin and mineral supplements and water intake without protein, carbohydrate or fat intake, no food at all. Dropped from 207 kilograms to 88 kilograms and maintained it. After a follow-up checkup 5 years later, the patient was 96 kilograms, stabilized. Prolonged fasting had no ill effects. If anybody is curious about the article, the PubMed ID is PMC 2495396. Edit, fixed autocorrect. People were deliberately infected with malaria to cure their syphilis, and the man who developed this treatment, Julius Wagner Jorg, https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/Julius_Wagner Jorg, received the Nobel Prize for it. The extremely high fevers of the malaria infections killed the syphilis bacteria, then the patients were cured of the malaria using quinine.
Giraffes eat bones.
Taser is actually an acronym for Thomas A. Swift's electric rifle. TASER.
Ireland was a net exporter of food during the Great Potato Famine.
More people died making the V-2 rockets during WW2 than were killed by them.
TSA's fail rate is over 80%. https://www.news.com/news/usnews/investigation breaches US airports allowed weapons through in 367-851. I personally know someone who in his carry-on accidentally packed a loaded handgun, made it on the plane, and was so freaked out when he landed, he set it back home and took a Greyhound bus after his trip.
Switzerland has accidentally invaded Liechtenstein thrice in the last 50 years. https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/Liechtenstein %E2% 80% 93 Switzerland _relations. On the first time in 1976, Swiss military got lost and ended up in Liechtenstein, so the Liechtensteiners offered them drinks like proper hosts. On the second time in 1992, Swiss military forgot that a certain observation post was actually not in Swiss territory but in Liechtenstein territory, so they just said sorry and forgot about it. Then again in 2007, the Swiss army got lost and entered Liechtenstein, but eventually realized they weren't in Switzerland anymore, so they turned back. Liechtenstein didn't even know this happened till the Swiss apologized, again, to which they basically said, no problem, bro. Takeaways: the Swiss army are bad with directions. The Liechtenstein army people are chill brothers.
The color orange is named after the fruit. Sharks evolved before trees did.
An eyewitness to Lincoln's assassination at Ford's Theater told his story on national television. Edit: based on suggestions below, I'm proposing a new version of this factoid which makes it sound even crazier, but still factually true. An eyewitness to Lincoln's assassination at Ford's Theater appeared as a contestant on a nationally televised game show with Lucille Ball.
Only 4 people have been to the Challenger Deep, the deepest part of the ocean. One of those people is James Cameron, the director of Titanic.
From 1613 and 1620 a samurai traveled to Rome by way of Mexico. During this time, Shakespeare was still alive, Virginia had been founded for around a decade, Galileo was accused of heresy, and Pocahontas arrived in England. He met the Pope. He was made a Roman citizen. His name was Huascar's son Inigo, and was the last Japanese person to officially visit Europe until around 1860.
President John Tyler, born in 1790, has 2 living grandsons.
A million seconds ago was week before last, July 24th. A billion seconds ago was tilde 1988 tilde 1987. Ed, made some rounding errors. We're looking at November, 1987.
There was this French guy named Terror in the late 1700s that could eat anything, in any amount. He was able to eat a quarter of a cow on one day and ate dinner for 15 for one meal when he was being tested. He was even able to swallow an entire eel, with bones included, without hesitating. When he went to the military service, they used him as message transport, but after being captured he went back and tried to find a cure. In the hospital where he was staying, he was suspected of eating a baby, so they kicked him out. He was average weighted when he died. A few years later they could see inside his stomach just by opening his mouth. Here's a video which explains it on better detail. https://2.b/nidge2sbrc.
Mike the Headless Chicken lived without a head for 18 months. https://www.bbc.com/news/magazine341983990. A 500-pound cigarette smoking, beer drinking brown bear named Wojtek was enlisted and served in the Polish army during WE. Private Wojtek helped the Polish win the brutal Battle of Monte Cassino, and was even promoted to corporal. Following the war, he retired in Scotland.
The exact halfway point of Michael Jackson's life was January 27, 1984, the same day his hair was accidentally set on fire while filming a Pepsi commercial.
Cheetahs can't roar, but they can meow like house cats.
If every single person on the entire planet took part in a rock-paper-scissors contest, where everyone paired up and played, losers were knocked out and winners stayed on, etc., you would only have to win 33 times in a row to beat all 7.53 billion people on the planet.
The longest time between 2 twins being born is 87 days.
There is no universally accepted definition of vegetable. It's a cultural and culinary term, and varies from place to place. In chess there are over 9 million variations after just 3 moves each. 288 billion different possible positions after 4 moves each. In a complete game there are more possible positions than there are electrons in the observable universe.
There were more planes destroyed in World War II than there are, currently intact, explains on Earth Today.
Saddam Hussein was an erotic romance novelist in his spare time as the dictator of Iraq. Source https://n.m.wiki.org/Saddam_Hussein%27s_novels.
There is an extremely rare condition called Stone Man syndrome. It causes any smallest damage done to tissue to regrow into a bone. Speaking briefly, people affected by this sickness slowly turn into living statues as they get older. The Planck scale is the smallest known unit of measurement. If you were to expand a single atom until it was the size of the observable universe, about 92 billion light-years in diameter, a single Planck unit at this scale would be about the size of an average tree. https://t.b/amcrxcheekdre https://t.b/amcrxcheekdre.
If you earned $1 every second, it would take 2,921 years to have more money than Bill Gates.
Every 2 minutes, we take as many photos as all of humanity took during the 1800s.
Spearfish, South Dakota, holds the world record for the fastest recorded temperature change. On January 22, 1943, at about 7:30 a.m. MST, the temperature in Spearfish was -4 degrees Fahrenheit, -20 degrees Celsius. The Chinook wind picked up speed rapidly, and 2 minutes later, 7:32 a.m., the temperature was +45 degrees Fahrenheit, +7 degrees Celsius, above zero. The 49 degrees Fahrenheit or 27 degrees Celsius rise in 2 minutes set a world record that still holds. By 9 a.m., the temperature had risen to 54 degrees Fahrenheit, 12 degrees Celsius. Suddenly, the Chinook died down and the temperature tumbled back to -4 degrees Fahrenheit or -20 degrees Celsius. The 58 degrees Fahrenheit or 32.2 degrees Celsius drop took only 27 minutes.
If you shrink down our Sun to the size of a white blood cell, the Milky Way galaxy would be equal to the size of the continental United States. Space is huge.
The last guillotine execution in France was in 1977.
Stalin, Hitler, and Freud all lived in Vienna at the same time. Edit, and as others have pointed out, including a source further down, Tito and Trotsky were also there.
When Mount Everest was first measured it was exactly 29,000 feet. It was reported as 29,002 because exactly 29,000 was not believable.
There is a theoretical possibility that a child can be born that has 2 biological fathers and 1 biological mother, inherits DNA information from 2 different men and 1 woman. Search for heteropaternal superfecundation and chimerism, for those who are interested. Edit. I'm talking about a form of chimerism which would result from heteropaternal superfecundation, where 2 eggs fertilized by different men merge and result in a single child. Edit 2, try to make the most less misleading, sorry for any confusion smile. Even if 99% of Earth's population thought you were unattractive, 76 million people would still find you attractive.
Jim Morrison's dad was the fleet commander at the Gulf of Tonkin event. One can argue he played a strong part in kicking off the Vietnam War. Helps explain why Jim appeared to be acting out so much.
Nintendo was founded in 1889.
The Hubble Space Telescope can see galaxies billions of light-years away, but cannot make out the equipment we left behind on the Moon. The fact that we can see galaxies billions of light-years away speaks to how enormous the galaxies are, more so than how powerful the telescope is.
GPS satellites have to compensate for time dilation, because time runs at a different rate in orbit.
We live many times closer to the last dinosaur than the first and last dinosaur did to each other.